Ashana and Thomas Barquey.
What we do. The Mayan civilization disappeared before Columbus came. Who was he? He never set foot on the continental United States. Yet. Change we could believe in happened. You kids out there in the future, quit the WAUGHING laughing war. Jimmy and Johnny, Mary and Julie, it's a foursome. They're all married, kind of.
Ooh, anytime that you want me. Anytime that you need me.
It's me! One more for good measure. 2, 1. This is Clearwater, Florida. That's west. That's south. That's east. And there's a hole. In skydiving, they have thermos for clouds, haze puffs. You drop right through them. As long as there's nothing hiding there, you should be fine. 14,000 feet and below, one says one needs oxygen, so what's happening above that? There's no air. Angels are ET, many are human, it's multi-dimensional, maybe they don't need to breathe. snap, crackle, and pop. But you know, as soon as I go inside, you know, all the good stuff's gonna come and I won't be famous. Good morning, humans. I'm assuming only humans are watching this, but that's an assumption. Today is day 276, 24 June. This is on tape delay. Kimberly Ann Goguen. She's going to give you some good information. As I mentioned in the intro here, she is adamant. Unfortunately, she feels the need to apologize to us for her attitude, not a beatitude, but I certainly appreciate what she's doing for us. No need to apologize to me.
It's the 16th of June, 2025. Coming up on today's Global Intelligence Agency Operations Report. The deep state thought their New World Order global government could be installed this weekend.
This came out yesterday, 16th June.
Given indications created by an AI simulation that this would happen. Yet the rug
But really,
was
yesterday
right
was
out from underneath
23rd.
The Mormon organization isn't any better than the Vatican. Today
She's a
we will
week
tell you
behind.
why. Simulations are artificial consciousness
Labyrinth.
construct designed as
one
a
on
labyrinth to
Mars.
enslave and entrap
Underneath.
organic life. It's a war for consciousness control, not by the deep state, but by the simulator. In fact, the deep state are just as much a part of it as you and I are. The Freemason Temple in Washington, D.C. held its own set of crystal tablets that everyone instructed.
I'm going to play about
And that, my friends, is how
20,
your
25
government
minutes
is
of
run.
this. It's on
This is more
YouTube.
in today's extended Global Intelligence Agency
This is the important
report.
stuff.
Well, it's June 16th. We made it through last week. Woo! Yay us. And I missed you guys.
Again,
so
I'm
kinda
recording on
excited
24
about doing
June.
tonight's report. There's a lot of
Mayan long
information.
count, 276.
And this is kind of the cliff notes, believe it or not.
Out of
because
360
so much
days.
has happened in the last few
Every
days.
day is Sunday.
It's a
The
little crazy
7-day
out there.
week was a fib.
Yeah, lots of changes for the positive on our end of it, and well, lots of failures on their side. So, on that note, I wanted to wish all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day. Yesterday was Father's Day in some countries, so happy Father's Day to all of you. And then, of course, happy Father's Day to our ultimate father, Source. Interesting day, for sure. Also, wanted to wish you all a happy solstice week. We have a solstice coming up on Friday, and that's always an interesting time of year. And on that note, I guess we might as well kind of get started. There's been a couple of people that have said, you know, I've been a little drama-filled and a little edgy and that kind of thing. I noticed some comments last week about that. But you've got to understand my standpoint a little bit.
I
You know,
do.
I've got a lot of things riding on my shoulders.
She's not
a lot
perfect.
of people that are counting on us to succeed. And, you know, it's a lot. And the more progress we make, the more things and people that come after me. So I am kind of the face front of this. I've put myself out there on the internet. I tell you things that nobody wants you to know, and that makes my life very uncomfortable and uneasy. During some of the reports recently, it's been increasingly difficult as they've had some black magic workers and other people crawling all over me during
She's
the
targeted.
reports to try and make sure I don't get information out to you. But we do it anyway.
I
And
mean,
on
this
that
took a
note,
week
yeah,
to
it's a little bit
be
frustrating
released for
from
some
time to time.
reason.
So
I
I
still don't
apologize if
understand
that comes
that, but-
across as an unsource-like, as people have said. But truth be told, it has more to do with my own frustration, and quite frankly, I'm pretty sick and tired of these people, and I know you all are as well. So let's talk about all the things that have happened. I was going to do the GIA report on Wednesday night,
get her and a
and I
bunch
was
of other
waiting for
women
some
to run
additional
this planet.
information before
All the
I
children will be
continued
happy.
on with some of the information I was going to put out on Wednesday. And a lot of this relates to the Mormons. You see, because I've gotten some calls and texts from people, and this isn't, let's just say, regular people. There seems to be quite an interesting power struggle going on right now between...
Okay, so quickly, you've got the Mormons. Who are they? They're another brand of Christianity, right? You had the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims. Then along came Mr. Mormon here in America, and a new brand evolves out in Salt Lake City. They've got Brigham Young. They've got a whole collective of people that want to go door to door doing conversions. And they're much like Jehovah's Witnesses. They're out there preaching their belief system. Now, unfortunately, the Mormons have some very, 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 very strange practices. Primary of which is massive collection of a DNA database. They've got the largest one in the world. And they do surrogate baptisms. So the primary example of the 6 million real souls that burned in the ovens, they took that agreement in the inner life for Hitler. So imagine being one of them. You live your life, you're a jeweler, you get burned in the oven. You gave it up voluntarily. Well, now you continue in your life, but they've got your name and maybe a fragment of your DNA. So they drag all that shit to a temple, and these senior warlocks get together and do a surrogate baptism. So they have an individual stand in the place of the dead Hebrew and be baptized, since they missed their baptism as Jews. That's what they do. It causes complications in the tapestry, and we aren't happy about that. So those are the Mormons, and they're one class of opposition.
The Mormons themselves and their business leaders, so to speak, and the rest of the deep state. You see, some of the deep state people that texted me about them, asking me if I was right about the Mormons. Now, you see, I approach things oftentimes very,
Mitt Romney.
Open-heartedly, so to speak, and open-handedly, and, well, here comes a new group of people that we know are members of the deep state, but let's see what they do anyway. And that doesn't mean I don't have all of the information, because I do. And some of the deep state people would like me to turn against them, and I know that. And it's kind of where they show their hand sometimes, because they want power just as much as the Mormons want power, and the Mormons want power just as much as the other people want power, and everybody wants power and control of things. Unfortunately, for them, they keep forgetting that Source is the one that has the power and control. After Marduk and all the shenanigans that happened because of him, even this weekend, post-mortem major crap. On a side note, this has led a lot of people to do a lot of crazy things.
Marduk was the son
this week.
Enki, E-N-K-I.
So power is the absolute.
That's the
correct.
primary high self name.
It is the strongest drug in the world.
Occupied by Henry Kissinger.
There is no addiction
last life.
To power. Addiction to power is like no other.
Goringa, the life before that.
That addiction must be fed. So much so,
Bill
with
Clinton
power
was Ahab.
Comes a lot of ego. Now, there's two ways people can do things.
Obama was
And even
Moses
non-people, really.
and Columbus.
When you do something and you go after something with all your might, so to speak, you put your mind to something, you're putting your physical body to do something, and it's something you really want to achieve, and no one anywhere is going to stop you. There's two reasons why all beings in the omniverse do things, and that includes Marduk. Number one, there's ego. Ego causes people to do a lot of things. And when you do things so, how do I say this word? With so much tenacity and vigor, and you go after it full force, and you're doing it with ego, you make mistakes. I don't care who you are. alien race or otherwise, androids or otherwise, AIs or otherwise, when it's done with ego, there are always mistakes. So one thing that we've learned over the years with the deep state is they do a lot of things with ego and pride. Not pride like, wow, I'm so proud of what I'm doing. It's, you know, pride always goes
Self-service.
before the fall kind of thing. And
For
that's
them.
where ego comes in. And
They split up your money.
doing things out of ego because you think you're better than other people, because you think
The
you're better at
collection
what
plate.
you're doing than other people, you think you're smarter
At
than
your
other
worship
people.
box.
Never
Or your voting booth.
works
You
fully
continue to pay
because you
them.
always make mistakes. Even if you
The
are in
divided
control or in
country,
charge of
in the
something.
case of America,
Now, on the other hand,
there's this
the
wedding
only other
band.
thing that motivates people to do amazing things
The
is
curse of
love.
marriage. Although
Be it extra
Children
strength
are born.
when you're trying to protect a child
Some
or a
die
family
altogether.
member or someone you deeply love,
I'm not dismissing
or to do
the
things because of
institution,
the
it's
love
for
of
some.
source, or you do things out of love for humanity. When you do things out of love or in love,
Yes.
you do those things with
She's
everything
on
you've
YouTube.
got.
We're
And
going
because love is
5 more
guiding you,
minutes,
you don't make mistakes.
and then I'm going to read
Now, not
page
to say
2,
that we're not.
7,
We're all
6
source and we're infallible.
of the
That's not
convoluted
true.
universe.
But when you do things out of love, you're less likely to make mistakes because it's the love that guides you. Ego, on the
Outstanding.
other hand, comes from a dark place.
Singularly outstanding. I
therefore,
give her a 1
Lots of
block.
mistakes are made.
Promote ahead of
For
contemporaries.
us, on
She
our
has
side,
no
that try to do
contemporaries.
things out of love, not only
She
for
owns
each other and
the
other
central
humans,
banking
but also out of love for
system.
our source and the omniverse and the light itself and
Like you can't
and-
move money
and all the
internationally
changes that
unless
are happening
she
and have
approves it.
happened.
So she
You know,
lets
we've
it all
been a lot
happen.
more successful in our
Wheezy.
side doing things out of love. Now, that's something that the deep
Donald's
state
in
will never
trouble.
understand. So therefore, there's always a lot of mistakes. And when it comes to
Bombing another country.
the quote-unquote cowboys and Duck Dynasty people,
Yeah,
the
Donnie.
Duck Cowboys and the Duck Dynasty people are 100% ego. You know, they do things first and then think later. You know, gee, what happened?
Okay, so listen up. I heard on another channeling. Let me show my face. I heard on another channeling last night. I know a little bit about the country of Iran because we used to war game against it. We did terrain analysis of the whole country. I know the Yaz corridor. I know the Zagros Mountains. And as it turns out, there are deep, where they hit those nuclear facilities, there are some deep shafts that go way the hell down past where you would put a missile silo. I'm talking ancient deep, leading to lateral trade routes back to the word labyrinth. Underneath the ground, anciently. So if they're in charge, they know where that stuff is, and CNN is not reporting from there. Remember that Obama's man Mueller took a suitcase of money to support Iran, and that wasn't for the people, the normie people that live there. It's for the Khomeini regime that fights the fake Hebrews, and that's ongoing right now. So Source is in charge of this, and it's like kind of the battle of Armageddon, because once this dust settles, it'll never happen again. So remember that.
Take this military parade, for example. People had very little notice that there was going to actually be a military parade, at least the general public.
No kings.
And they wonder why nobody actually really showed up for the parade. Now, there were people there, not a tremendous amount, you know, and there were a lot of empty bleachers and all kinds of things. And the reason for
Donnie,
that
not
was,
spinning
well,
the cameras
there
around.
was no notice. And, well, on the one hand, so no notice basically means that, you know, people would have to get to Washington, D.C., take time off work. You know, we all have jobs.
You know,
we all have
Melania
lives.
is used. Give her
And,
the benefit of the
You know, to
doubt.
go all the way to
She's
D.C.
got
unless
Barron
you're in the general area probably isn't
and
going
his
to happen.
upcoming
The only other
adventures.
reason why people show up
So
for
there's
the
plenty
parade
more
like
to
that
talk
is because,
about.
well, their kids are graduating from West Point or wherever, you know, and they wanted to be there for their graduation. That would happen. You know, they shifted the location of the graduation rather abruptly as well. The other thing I noticed about this parade was that, you know, you got to see, for at least myself, I've watched a lot of military parades around the world in different countries.
I bet.
Including the Victory Parade in Russia. I've seen parades throughout Asia. And when you watch those parades,
She used to
the soldiers,
accompany
you know,
Marduk
flags
to
and
learn what the
guns
hell was
and
going on.
gun salutes, and
She knows Putin.
you know, everybody is in full order, and they're
Vladimir
marching
Putin knows everything. He's
appropriately
Russian
and all of
Orthodox.
this. And I didn't see really any of that in that parade, and I didn't really watch much of it. I was super busy on Friday
believe
night.
it.
But
All right, so that's hello to Kim. She's on YouTube. Let's press on with today's book reading. Thank you.
Do the Rothschilds have a patent for concrete and blood?
From F.org. Rothschild filed the application that became the 086 patent in June 2017. Rothschild is the inventor of many patents in this area. PG&E is a publicly traded company owned by many individual shareholders and other large investment companies. PG&E's current CEO is Patricia Poppy. It is 50% owned by private investors and 50% by Exor, the Agnelli Holding Company, and the Rothschild banking family of England. The value of money in the United States is based on the stock of gold and silver held by the United States government. Abraham Lincoln's mother was Nancy Hanks Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was born to Thomas Lincoln and Nancy Hanks Lincoln in a log cabin near Hodgenville on Sinking Spring Farm, Kentucky in the year 1809 February.
Well, it was Maggie Valley in North Carolina where the Hanks genetics originated. And Tom Hanks is a blood ancestor of Abraham Lincoln.
Thomas Jeffrey Hanks is an American actor and filmmaker. Known for both his comedic and dramatic roles, he is one of the most popular and recognizable film stars worldwide and is regarded as an American cultural icon. William Oliver Stone is an American filmmaker. Stone is an acclaimed director, tackling subjects ranging from the Vietnam War and American politics to musical biopics and crime dramas.
Brothers, sisters, brethren. Prana. This is a merger. We all come from a universal point of origin. We've talked about the dark side and their collective, the Luciferian social memory complex that's hybrided. But we start somewhere. So there's Mars, that's Trump, wars. He was Julius Augustus Caesar, William Dennison, 24th governor of Ohio. Howard Stern is clearly Anunnaki, draconian. He may have been the reason Nibiru missed ascension at Sirius C. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is nothing more than a concise merger of the two as Stern weighs in and Trump, and there's discussion of Paris of all places. Get a load of this.
He's going to try to buy votes. This is one example, but just to the average observer, these people are just nuts. They're nuts, and Biden is nuts. And we know that. He went on Howard Stern's show today because that's apparently what people do when they're running for president or running for president as a sitting president. And what did he go on to do? He said on the
Joe Biden was on with Conan O'Brien, Howard Stern, and we're talking serious now. Think about ownership of channels and Turner Broadcasting and, well, king of radio, serious.
He said on the show that Trump promised a bloodbath if he doesn't win, which has been thoroughly debunked. Then he repeated the suck.
So Biden told that to Stern, who's Stern is saying that's what he was told, and this guy is recounting this.
He did the suckers and losers hoax, which has been thoroughly debunked by a lot of people. And just looking at the whole ordeal, when was that released? It was released by The Atlantic out of...
McCain was a POW. He crash landed. Hanoi Hilton, Jane Fonda, CNN, Black Eye, George Soros, down care on Obamacare. I think he's going to talk about that.
Atlantic out of thin air. The
Trump,
day or a few days before military ballots went out in the 2020 election.
McCain partnered with Obama for Benghazi.
They did that, but also
he had a studio
Trump went there
in Arizona.
Before. Why would he go there before but not the next year to the gravesite? He didn't go to the gravesite because it was raining. You had bad weather.
Okay, well, maybe not.
Is the defense of our nation and its citizens. Last night, at my direction, the United States military successfully executed a flawless precision strike that killed the #1 terrorist anywhere in the world, Qasem Soleimani. Soleimani was plotting imminent and sinister attacks on American diplomats and military personnel, but we caught him in the act and terminated him. Under my leadership, America's policy is unambiguous to terrorists who harm or intend to harm.
America is defined by east and west of the Mississippi.
Well, the future of Minnesota's most famous river is in danger. That's according to a new report.